Star Walker. You know, we all got a Chiron. And we all understand something has served its purpose, and when time is up, it may manifest as a catastrophic moment in your monkey ass life. Right, boss? Yeah. Tell me why did you leave? Yeah. You wasn't on my side. I knew you wasn't down for the ride. Tell me why did you leave? And I ain't have a clue. Now tell me what you wanted me to do. Tell me why did you leave? Big shit poppin'. Listen, and you just need to stop it. Tell me why did you leave? Listen here a little bit. You left the flight bar. Yeah. Look. Fly. Oh, yeah. So hot that you get a tan. Please don't think I give a fuck about you and your man. Yeah, these girls do things that'll put you in the can. Yeah, I see things from a mile away like a new in the van. Fucking house party, I don't care to play. If we got two different paths, so we gon' drift away. These little things that be in your brain. Nigga need a straight jacket for like 60 days. That's when it all falls down.
Yo, I didn't expect people to show up so quick. Shout out to Shaka. We got the glow. I know Shaka knows about that shit. He knows about the era of the deep, yet highly entertaining, fire, esoteric movies teaching you about concepts about yourself, the mind, the thought, the mastery of self, self-belief. You feel me? But let some more people get in here. I'm just gonna. I had two like warm-up clips. I won't let the whole Dolo shit fly, but let's go.
Baby, where the fuck was you at? You better call me now. Or best believe you might just get slapped. And I ain't on no domestic violence. I'd rather be somewhere stressed out on jets and islands. I'm the light, baby girl, don't try to suppress the guidance. I'm trying not to believe, but tell me why did you leave? Yeah. You wasn't on my side. I knew you wasn't down for the ride. Tell me why did you leave? And I ain't have a clue. Now tell me what you wanted me to do. Tell me why did you leave? Big shit poppin'. Listen, and you just need to stop it. Tell me why did you leave? Listen here.
Let's go. Yo. One monkey don't stop no show. You feel me? I ain't gonna let up. I got the glow. You feel me? You are the master. You nigga. Here's a parable. You feel me? In Eddie Murphy and the Golden Child, you were Eddie Murphy and you were the Golden Child. Huh? Let's get into that. Let's get into those concepts. You were Eddie Murphy. What's his name? Axel something? Axel Foley? Was that his name in that movie, or was that his name in Beverly Hills Cop or whatever? But you are Eddie Murphy and you are the Golden Child. You are saving yourself. You feel me? And your subconscious, your childlike mind, your inner spirit can only be suppressed by being surrounded by evil on all four sides. You feel me? Well, let's not get into that. This is Disagreeable. I am Disagreeable. We are Disagreeable. Welcome to Disagreeable. I'd like to say a big shout out to my brother, Magical Family. You feel me? Shout out to Shaka. You feel me? People who were here early. I think we should just get right into it. You know I freestyle the show. We should get right into it. So where should we start with the concepts? You feel me? You are the master. So let's go. Shaka knows what it is. I'm the chosen one. Can I have the knife? Come on, bro. Are you as pure as this water? Can you? That's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show. Hold on. So this is Sunday service, getting unstuck. I can't remember if I watched this before, but we're gonna run through it. People, I'm gonna drop the link. People are welcome to come up, especially the homies. You feel me? Are welcome to come up, give their opinion if they think it's whack, if they think whatever you think. Just pull on up if you want to. But we're gonna get into this Les Brown getting unstuck. And then I'm going to drop a bit of the Phoenix seminar, but the Phoenix seminar is like 9 hours long. So I just want to make people aware of that, you know? So hit the like button and let's get into it. Let's go. Boom. Boom. Boom.
It's my pleasure to be here this evening to ask you to join together with me to welcome Les Brown for his third in a series of 4 classes. Les is one of the most inspiring motivational teachers in America today. When I heard him 3 years ago, it actually brought tears to my eyes, and I rushed one of my sons over afterwards to introduce him to Les.
All right, white lady, let's get to the black man. Let's get to the original man.
Good evening. How you doing? I'll ask you how you doing. I want you to say better than good and better than most. How you doing? Better than good and better than most. I know that's right. And sometimes even better than that, right? I'd like to just let you know I really appreciate the opportunity to share some time with you again. Why don't you give Lenore a round of applause, please? Very beautiful personality. I'm very, very supportive of this ministry. I think that Jack Boland is ahead of his time, and the people here who show a level of concern in terms of empowering people and helping them to develop the skills that are necessary to navigate through some of the treacherous waters of life is something that's very much needed. This evening, we're going to be looking at how to get unstuck. I think some of you know what I mean. Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what's using my life? Heard a guy give a lecture one time that says, we are today what we were when. And he was talking about the fact that we, to a great extent, behave, think, react because of some previous experience that we've had. One of the things that we know about life is that it is always changing. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go real well, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. Now that's that thing called life. And when we begin to understand and know that, accepting that reality that we will never ever have things just on an even keel all the time, that you're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. But during those down moments, that's where the growth takes place. That's where the work is. See, anybody can feel good when they have their health, their bills are paid, they have happy relationships, the children are acting normal, business is successful. Anybody could be positive then. Anybody can have a larger vision then. Anybody can have faith under those kinds of circumstances. Am I correct?
You know, before I continue, for people who are not aware of the show and how it goes, I freestyle this show. I don't pre-watch these clips, see what's going on. I've seen this guy seems familiar. The name itself, Les Brown, seems familiar. And so I'm not sure of his exact message, but he's been coming up in the algorithm around John Canary, Bob Proctor, the Phoenix Seminar, blah, 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 shit like that. So I'm going to give the black man a chance. Let's go.
See, but the real challenge of growth, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, comes when you get knocked down. Somebody said that adversity introduces a man to himself or a woman. How you handle it, that's where the growth takes place. When I was facing some challenges, I had a guy say something to me, and I suggest this is one of the first things that you want to do when you're facing a challenge. You want to get unstuck. Evaluate where you are. Look at it. Assess yourself. Assess yourself and assess the situation. What brought you there? What role did you play? Earl Nightingale had a saying I like. He said, all of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. What has brought you to this point? What did you learn from it? Are you learning anything? Or are you doing it over and over and over again? Somebody said that insanity is doing the same thing in the same way, expecting a different outcome. Are you going through it, or are you growing through it? Are you bigger and better because of it? Because it's not going to leave you until you grow through it. I was going through a major challenge in my life that was wearing me out, that was using me. And one of my students told me in a class that I was teaching, Lessons in Truth, she said, Les, until you handle it with grace, it will stay in your face. And it stayed there a long time. The challenges of life. How do we get stuck? A friend of mine went through a divorce. My best friend. He had a wife that did not love him as much as he loved her. It was his first real true love. He was a very religious man, did not believe in divorce. He made a mistake, and he paid for his mistake with a lot of pain, a lot of tears. And there came to a point where he knew he should have gotten a divorce, but he was stuck. He was stuck in something called revenge. He said, she's made me so miserable, I'm going to pay her back. He was stuck. And he stayed in there longer than he should have because it began to attack him. It began to affect him psychologically. And as a result of that, when he eventually did get a divorce, he took that same attitude to other relationships, looking for something to go wrong. He was burned so badly, he did not want to risk pain again. He was going in relationships trying to avoid pain. When it became too close, he would do something to make sure the relationship did not work. He would always try and find something wrong with the person because there are no perfect people. So if you look for it, you can find it. He was stuck in revenge. Another friend of mine, working on a job, loved the company very much, expected to retire there. And one day they called him in the office, asked him for his badge and identification, called the security man up, walked into his desk, told him he was fired and he had to leave then. He was devastated. And if you came anywhere near him, he will tell you his story, as we all have stories. Even when he got a job, he went on the job telling anybody who would listen how they fired him unjustly. And he always ended with, it wasn't fair. Life isn't fair. Life just is. It's not fair that birds eat worms, and they do. So we can't even deal with what's fair. But he's stuck in the fact that it's not fair. I don't deserve that. They were wrong. I used to be a state legislator in Columbus, Ohio. During the break, we used to go out on the front lawn of the Ohio legislature at the Capitol there and observe people as they came by. There was one particular person that all of us knew. The children, adults, everybody used to pick at him when he came by. We called him Chicken Man. He had a feather in his hat. He had a toy chicken on top of his car that he would drive around the area in downtown, blinking his lights and occasionally blowing his horn. When he got out of his car, he would walk downtown with a baby carriage with two little baby dolls in there and a picture of a woman. And when you say something to him or came near him, you would hear him making the sounds of a chicken. All of us used to laugh at Chicken Man. We didn't know Chicken Man's story. Chicken Man woke up one morning around 3 a.m. and his house was on fire. He panicked and he got out of the window, left quickly, only to get outside to hear his children and his wife screaming for help. He ran back to the door to go in to save them, and the flames were too hot, too awesome. He tried to get in, he couldn't get in. He was desperate, frantic. Pretty soon the cries stopped. They perished in the fire. His brother-in-law came, found out that his sister had died and his niece is in the fire, grabbed Chicken Man and started beating him. You chicken, why did you save my sister? You're chicken, you're chicken. When the people pulled him off Chicken Man, they picked him up and said, are you all right? And Chicken Man looked at him and he started making the sounds of a chicken. He never, ever overcame that tragedy. He was stuck from that experience.
That's very interesting. Even if he's telling a fictional tale right now or whatever, it's very interesting because like that could be true. Just think about it. The trauma, the fire, physical pain, along with the deep emotional pain of your family being killed in the fire, along with the physical trauma of the family whooping your ass, along with the repetition of them telling you you're a chicken, that could cause a mental break. And now you walk around as such. You feel me?
Experience. None of us knew why Chicken Man went around with this picture and these little dolls. I remember when I was stuck in anger for a long time, when I made a commitment to my adopted mother that I was going to purchase her a home. I'll never forget the experience of working real hard to get the money for the down payment. Someone had told me of a beautiful home in an exclusive area of Miami. I went to see it, took my mother there, and she said, yes, I want it. It was on the water. We went to the closing. My attorney said, Les, have you had a title search? I said, what's a title search? Well, we just take a couple of days to check it out and make sure there are no liens against the property that you might have to pay if you buy this home. The guy who was there selling me the house, he said, listen, he said, the only reason that I'm selling you this house and selling it at a loss is because I admire the fact that you want to purchase this house for your mother. I have another guy who will give me substantially more money, but I like you. And I've got to get back to Philadelphia. Now, if we cannot consummate this deal now, then the deal is off. I said, there are no liens against the property? He says, no, of course not. I looked at my attorney. I said, I believe him. I'll sign. She said, Mr. Brown, I'm not questioning his honesty. She said, but business is business. I signed that contract. And we had a big celebration. Everybody in the neighborhood was talking about Leslie coming home, one of the twins that Mamie adopted, to buy her a home. Child, isn't that nice? God is going to bless him. A few weeks later, I received a letter, a registered letter, indicating that the house was going up for sheriff's sale on the courthouse steps. A man had filed a $12,000 lien against the property because the previous owner owed him that money. And if I did not come up with $12,000 in 30 days, he was going to sell the house to the highest bidder. I called this man and said, Mister, my name is Les Brown. I purchased this house. I had nothing to do with your prior bill. He said, that's not my problem. He said, you should have had a title search. I said, can you give me time? I said, my mother is an older lady. She has a bad heart. And I said, please. I said, if you just give me the time, I don't know how I'm going to do it with the house note and everything else, but I think I can pay you at least $2,000 a month. And within 6 months, somehow I will pay you your money. He said, no, I want it all in 30 days or you get out. I did everything I could, racked my mind thinking about how I could get $12,000 because I took everything I could to get the money just for the down payment and the closing. I finally had to face the reality that I wasn't going to be able to do it. I was up around 2 o'clock in the morning, walking back and forth, thinking, how was I going to tell my mother this? My children were there in the room sleeping all night long. I agonized over this. I lost over 23 pounds. Pretty soon I went in the room where my mother was sleeping. And I said, Mama, I got down on my knees by the bed. I said, Mama, I got to talk to you. And she said, what's wrong? I said, Mama, I said, we got to get out the house. I said, in my haste to buy the house, I made a mistake. She said, that's all right, baby. I didn't like this house anyhow. I said, Mama, you told me you loved it. I brought our friends out here to see it. She said, you know I have arthritis in my knees, and I don't like going up the steps, but I knew it made you happy. You loved it so much. I said, Mom, I've lost 23 pounds agonizing over this. Well, we had to pack up and go back to the old house down the street from Northwestern High School in Liberty City. All those neighbors who came out and saw us leave, those neighbors were there as we were coming back. We went in the house, the roaches were playing cards, saying, "Come on in and take a hand." I was wiped out. I was embarrassed and humiliated. Words cannot encompass the symbolism of what I felt. I remember when I was unloading the furniture and I began to cry. My sister came by. You know you didn't have any money to buy no house, Mr. Big Time. Hadn't given me a quarter. You know mama got a bad heart, now y'all back where you belong. As I was crying and my head down, taking furniture in, my mama said, "Hold your head up." I said, "Mama," I said, "I just feel so bad about this, Mama." She said, "Hold your head up and dry your tears. You have nothing to be ashamed of." And I did, as we unloaded that furniture in that house. For several weeks, I was numb. I was immobilized with anger. If I had seen that guy, I was thinking about flying to Philadelphia. I had all kind of dreams about him. And I didn't want to hit this guy here. Hitting would have been too good for him. I just wanted to just grab him and just bite him. I just made him found him. They say, "Well, we found this guy just chewing on him." Beating would have been too good for him. I'd have just bit him every time he I'd have been like a Doberman Pinscher. Yeah? God would have said, "I thought I made everything, but I don't know where this came from." I was reading a book on forgiveness. And they had a line in there that says, "Forgive and grow." I had to let that luggage go. You see, your mind is, you know, when you go into a service station to get gas, you don't go in there and just start pumping. When you push the lever up, it clears the previous bill. By the same token, if you want to begin to move, you've got to clear your mind of all the unnecessary luggage and baggage that's weighing us down. I couldn't move. I couldn't think about what am I going to do to get out of this situation, because I was so concerned about what happened and what he did to me and how bad it was. I was so stuck in that I couldn't even focus on what I should have done. Feeling sorry for myself and angry, and none of that was taking me anywhere. So pretty soon I learned through effort, made a conscious, deliberate, determined effort. I had to let it go. I had to forgive it. Let it go and begin to focus on developing myself. And I say to you, you're going to have people to do things to you. Things are going to happen to you. And the most important thing to do is to harness your will and let it go and move so you can grow, so you can get on with your life. It doesn't matter about what happens to you. What matters is, what are you going to do about it? Amen. What are you going to do now, Les? Huh? How long are you going to tell everybody at the bus stop and anybody who would stand and listen to you? How long are you going to repeat the same thing over and over and over and over and over again? How many times do we have to hear that? Don't go around telling people what your story is. Everybody has a story.
Like, everybody has a story, and like just observing yourself, and if not yourself, observing your communications with people throughout your life, you notice that the stories and the tells you tell of yourself, what are they? You feel me? What is a memory? You feel me? What is that thing when you are how do you say, when you are literally remembering? You feel me? You're taking these things that are scattered that really don't make sense, and you're remembering them into an order so it makes sense for you to convey this thing, or you are recollecting. So these things that you can let go of, you are deciding to recollect. And when you recollect these thoughts and transfer them, they become something solid, tangible, and then you reflect that eternally. You feel me? If you're telling this story, and this is a story of you, and this thing, and this is where logic and illogical thinking come to a crossroads. You feel me? They come to a crossroads because you may think that's not affecting your everyday going about things, but the only reason you think that is because you've never been taught the true nature of reality. You don't know the true nature of reality. You don't know how things work. So therefore, you think you know what the fuck's going on. And one of the most dangerous things I've noticed in this reality is thinking you know what the fuck is going on. Because you know why? Usually you think you know what the fuck is going on because you've been propagandized.
20% don't care and 20% glad it's you. They say, I'm glad that didn't happen to me. Sometimes you think you got some problem. You hear somebody else's problem, and if that problem is real bad, it make you feel good. Am I right? All right. So I had to let that go. All of us got stories to tell. Chicken Man allowed his tragedy to destroy his life. All of us have experienced some tragedy, and if we haven't, we will. And you can either let it destroy your life or you can build upon it. You can permit it to let it hold you down, or you can decide, I'm not going to let that happen to me. I'm bigger than this. Make a declaration to yourself. Declare all out war that you're going to get out of this rut. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how much you work on yourself. There are some times when things aren't going to go right. They just are not going to go right. There are times when anything that can happen will happen. Murphy's Law will be knocking at your door. Why? I don't know why. That's called life. And you have to deal with it. Sometimes your life will be in a slump, just like sports. Some of the best shooters can't hit baskets different times in games. They get in a slump. Do they sit on the sideline and say, I just didn't hit a basket today? No, they continue to execute. I suggest to you that if you are facing a challenge, don't stop. Stay busy. Work your plan. Continue to do those things that you know that work for you after you have evaluated yourself in the situation. Continue to move. Stay busy, stay busy, stay busy. Repeat out to me. Help somebody. And help yourself. Because what you give is what you get. Find somebody that you can help so you can forget about you for a moment. See, sometimes the best thing to do is to be. Sometimes you have to just back up and go within yourself. A bow and arrow, you can't take a bow and just push it out an arrow. You just can't push the arrow out. You have to pull it back and then release it. Sometimes you have to back up and go within and pray and meditate and recharge your batteries. Go away, clear your head, and then come back and look at it from a different vantage point.
Hold up, Shaka. You still here? Are you still here, Shaka? Break that down into the electricity scientific terms for us, bro. You feel me? What's the different types of energy? It's slipping me right now. There's kinetic. There's tension or something. You know what I'm talking about. So sometimes you can't just pop shit off. You feel me? Sometimes you need to build the blank space. Fill in that space for me. Pause with the right word, Shaka. What kind of energy is that?
Don't operate while you're under the spell or the effect of what's going on.
Hold up, I think I remember potential energy. There's kinetic energy and potential energy, right? Sometimes you need to sit back and just be, so you can build that slingshot shit with the potential energy and release that shit. Bang! Or maybe I could be wrong. Correct me.
On. Next thing is that you've got to activate the thinker in you. Don't allow your emotions to control you. We are emotional, but you want to begin to discipline your emotion. If you don't discipline and contain your emotions, they will use you.
Facts.
Your mind goes on automatic, just like a God. I loved reading the book called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. He uses the analogy of the mind being like a garden. Weeds don't have to have any encouragement to grow. You don't have to water them. They don't have to get sunshine. They don't have to have fertile ground. They will grow through the cracks of a sidewalk. Am I right? But if you want to grow orchids or roses or any kind of exotic flowers, there are special processes and procedures you must go through. Well, by the same token, you don't have to force yourself or motivate yourself to think negatively, to be depressed, to hate somebody, to want revenge, to want to get back at somebody, to beat yourself up over the head, to feel loaded with guilt. You don't have to make any effort to do that. Your mind is on automatic. It will do that by itself. But if you want to be...
Hold on, he's talking right now. This is Les Brown back, I'm guessing this is late 80s, early 90s or something like that. And just nowadays, people, I'm not going to drop any names, you feel me? The people who are so-called ancient historians or chronologists and shit like that are talking about the concept of the mind, and we're possibly in a system that's been a simulacra or has been copied and taken over by a malevolent AI or whatever. I know I'm getting deep into the waters and shit like that, but what same thing he's talking about is like how the programming for this thing that we're in seems to be default negative. You feel me? It seems to be default negative. You feel me? And some people might, I don't know, maybe some people are naturally optimistic or just like that, but it seems as a general consensus, generally, this reality is set to default negative through the interface system of your mind and physical body or whatever.
Begin to move into your own personal greatness. If you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back, and I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration that this is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have it. It's not going to be easy. When you want to change, it's not easy. If it were in fact easy, everybody would do it. But if you're serious, you'll go all out. So yes, I'm going to turn this situation around. I'm not going to sit back and moan and cry over what happened and what went wrong and who did what. I'm going to do something about this situation. The next thing that is important is that expect things to get better for you, because they are. See, life is cyclic. You're not, whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. Not to stay, just to pass. It's just going through. The biggest challenge is to know what's happening. This is a part of this thing we call life. This too shall pass. And maintaining perspective, putting it in perspective. I was doing a training at a college, and it was a 2-day training during orientation. And in the training that I provide, I'm a motivational speaker, but I conduct processes in personal dynamics, where people begin to go through changes that stimulate the right and left hemisphere of the brain, enable them to see themselves differently. I conducted this particular simulation with these young kids, 17 and 18 years of age, so that they would begin to see how they make decisions or how they would survive in this particular simulation process we gave them. We had them to do it individually and then collectively. Over 30% of them wrote down as their first option, in order to survive, they would commit suicide. First thing they wrote down. Suicide among young people has increased 300%. Over 5,000 will successfully take their lives this year. Why? Why did they do that? I said, I was so shocked. I said, what do you mean? Well, at least we would not suffer. And then they had the nerve to write down all of the other things they were going to do after they committed suicide. I said, listen, Kadumbo. Now, when you come up with a permanent solution for a temporary problem, that's it. Game's over. That's it. You're not going to do anything. Anybody wrote suicide at the top, you can put your pencil down. See, a lot of us, because of our limited vision of ourselves, a lot of us who begin to focus on problems and enable them to overwhelm us, we begin to think that we have no options. We begin to believe that there's no way out. Repeat after me, there's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Shake somebody's hand on your right.
like I'm saying, and you already know here at Disagree, but I freestyle these shows. I don't preview these clips. And I'm realizing I'm messing with this dude, but I'm realizing he is straight motivational. You feel me? Straight motivational. You can even notice from the crowd it's more like when you look at the John Canary or the Bob Proctor seminars, you see the crowd is like either mixed men and women or majority men. You feel me? But still like a decent mix. This is mostly women because women just like straight inspiration. But shout out to Les Brown because he's keeping it very simple and still being entertaining and inspirational at the same time. And this is Sunday service, so we don't need to get too deep and technical with the concepts right now. We're going to keep it very metaphorical and artistic today. You feel me? So this was a good choice. Shout out to Les Brown. And yeah, after this, we're going to get into the Last Dragon synopsis.
Right left and say, I'm unstoppable. You've got to make those kind of declarations to yourself. I'm unstoppable. This will not get me down. And if I get knocked down, I'm going to be like Leo Pascal. You said you're going to have some low moments in life, but when you do, you will have high lows when you work on yourself. What are some of those things that you can do during this period of time? Go for walks. Do some things for you. Just go for a stroll so you can engage in some reflective thinking on life, on yourself, looking and enjoying the universe, smelling the roses along the way. Listen to upbeat music that inspire you. I have oldie but goodies. I have strategies that I engage in to recharge my batteries. I'm preparing for that because I know things are going to happen that I cannot anticipate. Very good friend of mine died the other day. I had a program for myself. I have books that I read that inspire me, tapes that I listen to that fire me up, because you're going to have sometimes low moments when you won't want to get out of bed. You just want to stay there. At times you won't want to come out the house. At times you'll be feeling bad and don't know why. What's wrong? I don't know. Just leave me alone. Why did that happen? I don't know. It's called life. The other thing is take full responsibility for your life. Accept where you are and the responsibility that you're going to take yourself where you want to go. Someone said we have two primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem. Every time you see them, they'll tell you their story over and over and over and over again. No. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here. I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim. George Bernard Shaw said there are two kinds of people in life. He said those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those that don't know what happened. And he said the people that get along in this life look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't.
Hold up, that was bars right there. That was bars right there. Hold up, that was bars.
That don't know what happened.
No, I need to hear that. My bad, guys. That was bars. We respect bars around here. You feel me? Bar for bar breakdown.
And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim. George Bernard Shaw said there are two kinds of people in life. He said those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those that don't know what happened. And he said the people that get along in this life look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. They create them. So part of beginning to get unstuck, you've got to decide that the behavior pattern that you have adopted doesn't work for you. You've got to change your strategies, and changing your strategy means reinventing your life. Recreating you, and you have the power to do that. You can decide that you're going to change, that you're not going to be a wimp. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life.
Facts, dog. Les Brown is preaching right now, man. Les Brown is preaching. Shout out to everybody who stayed around the song. Hit the like button. Stop being a wimp, a sissy. And this is what, when people had more class back in the days, that's what they say instead of calling you a bitch ass nigga. Stop being a hoe ass bitch ass nigga, man. You feel me? Running back to what's comfortable to you. Ingesting things that you know are not serving you. And even if you can still handle yourself in quantities that are not serving you. You feel me? Because you're trying to run. Because you a bitch. You feel me? But shout out to, this is Sunday. My bad. I don't want to get like that. My bad. Let me try.
You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You have the power to make that decision. You can decide I'm going to work on myself and develop myself. I'm going to empower me. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, they're just temporary inconveniences. They're not stronger than I am. I'm in charge here. Next thing is separate what you do from who you are. That's what the guilt trap is about. See, a lot of folk won't let you forget what you used to do or what you have done, what mistakes you've made. All of us have made some mistakes in life. All of us have done some things that if we had them to do over again, we wouldn't do it again. There are a lot of things that if I had it to do over again, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done it differently. Well, it didn't happen that way. And that's what you call life. I didn't do it like that. Oh, you don't want me to live that down? How you want to keep on putting that in my face about what I did? Guess what? I'm not interested. That's what I did then. Won't do it today, so you are picking on an innocent man. Hello. So as you're in the process of reinventing your life, write a description of the kind of person that you want to be. What are the things that you must overcome? What qualities about your personality you know that you're going to have to change because those particular characteristics are liabilities to you? What are your assets? What are your strong points?
Facts. This nigga is talking right now. People, I'm sure you itemize things in your life and categorize things. When's the last time you itemized yourself? Took account of yourself? You feel me? Looked at yourself as a business. Your weak points, your strong points, what you need to develop, what do you really need to do to get the result that you're looking for? Shout out to everybody who's been around here from my previous shows when I'm more turned up. Are you doing enough? Are you doing enough? Most likely not. You don't want to accept it. You feel me? Are you lazy? You feel me? Here's the point I was making in those prior shows. I'd rather be or have the idea myself of being lazy than being dumb, because you're not smart enough to fix dumb, right? If you're just dumb. But if you can accept that you're not dumb, you're just lazy and you ain't doing what's necessary, you still have the opportunity to stop being lazy and start doing what's necessary. If you're just dumb, then you're cooked. You feel me?
Look at and evaluating yourself to make that determination. Other thing is that in order to get out of a rut, we need some coaching. Find some trusted critics. People that you know care about you and love you. So there's some things that keeps us from growing and getting out of ruts. Number one, we identify with feedback. We take it personal when someone wants to give us some feedback on where we are falling short and tell us about our blind spots. We want to have everything being positive about us. We're not perfect. It hurts. I have a friend who's a trusted critic. I don't like him, but I love him. He doesn't tell me the things I want to hear. He tells me what I need to hear so I can grow. It hurts. It hurts when he put me on the hot seat. I can't stand it. But that's the only way that I can grow. And I'm glad that he loves me enough to risk our friendship to tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. Get a support group, somebody that you can talk to. People who perhaps might have a similar problem. Support groups are very powerful, that you can share some of the challenges that you're going through. And it might be a situation where one person can give you an idea of how they handle that situation and create an opening for you. Begin to stimulate some possibilities in your mind on how you can resolve the problem. We can't grow by ourselves. As I mentioned before, we grow from people and projects. The other thing is about life, when things happen to you, when you permit things to use you, you can't change the past, but you can interpret. You can reinterpret how you see it. For years, I was going around with a heavy load on my shoulders, feeling bad because I was adopted.
You can't change the past, but you can reinterpret how you see it. This nigga is talking deep, esoteric, occult principles right now. And he's breaking it down beautifully for a mundane audience to raise these people up. Shout out to Les Brown, literally telling you, and I like to take things to a more scientific level. So people who are these science nerds who don't think anything esoteric or metaphysical is valid, you can literally time travel in your mind. The same thing you're doing when you remember and recollect thoughts. You remember and recollect them. You can remember however the fuck you want to remember. Therefore, you can even time travel back into this time mentally. If you just want to keep on the mental level, you can time travel back to these times and recollect and remember these things in the order that serves you. Huh? Am I going too far for you?
Doing interviews for adoption agencies and foster homes. And I was on television once, and I told these people in this particular interview that I was giving away my twin brother and I when we were 6 weeks of age. A friend of mine, fortunately, was listening to the program. And she said, Les, I'd like to have lunch with you. And so I went over to see her. She said, when a woman carries a baby for 9 months, feeling that life movement in her, it's automatic and natural for her to learn to love that baby, to expect it to come here when she bears the pain to bring it into the world. Your mother, Mamie Brown, when she came in to adopt you guys, she didn't go through that process. She looked at whoever your biological mother was and said, I'll take her. You weren't given away less. You were chosen with love. Same circumstances, same event, but reinterpreted. An interpretation that empowers me. Am I making sense to you? Yeah. So when you begin to look at your past, give an interpretation that empowers you. That's where I used to be. That's not where I am now. I'm growing. Now I want you to think about, in your mind right now, think about some particular event or act in your life that you feel very bad about, that you really regret that took place. If you had to do over again, you would do it differently. With that there, I want you to see yourself in your mind's eye and say to yourself, I love myself unconditionally, and I forgive myself. If I knew better, I would have done better.
Yo, and this goes back to my old shows. I don't think people have been around for my, the real inception of these talks I've been having, talking when I was getting into the deep, I don't really keep using the same word. When I was getting to the, I don't know how to use that. This whole reality is really built on nigga-isms. It's very ambiguous, but means exactly what it means. If you knew better, you do better. It is what it is. Everything is everything. These are nigga quotes, and these type of quotes that are short and sweet, they encompass this whole fucking reality. You feel me? And that's why this shit's not overcomplicated. This nigga just dropped the illest exercise right now. Think of the biggest regret, most fucked up thing in your life. You feel me? Put it that deep into your mind's eye. Focus on this vision. You feel me? And then you change that at the time. Now people say this is some basic level. This is what the skeptic, like I am, this is what the skeptic and the contrarian is going to say, this is some level one shit. Just say, I love myself and I forgive myself. No, he gave you a very specific mind exercise to do when you do this. Most people are going to tell you the second part. Oh, everything's okay, everything's fine. Nah, we are connecting these two things. We are bridging the gap, and we are breaking that original connection, those original synapses that move around in your brain, and how your fight or flight works, and how all your reactions and all that shit works. You are rewiring that so you can do new shit. Pattern breaking. You feel me? Shout out to everybody, man.
I want you to think about somebody that caused you some pain, caused you some disappointment, somebody that you don't like. Let me tell you something about the mind, how it uses you. Tell you something super stupid that I used to do. Do you know for years I hated my mother and my father, whoever they were, because they gave me away, as I thought at that point in time? And guess what? I didn't have any faces for the hatred, because I never saw either one of them. And I said, I hate them for that. And then once I forgave them and said, it's okay, had they not given me away, I would have never been blessed to have the mother that I have, who to me is the greatest mother in the world. So the universe unfolds as it should. But when I went through this process, saying forgive them, I remember in my mind, as I was trying to picture these people, I had two individuals in my mind standing there with no faces, because I didn't know how they look. But I released that. I let that luggage go. Think about somebody that you've hurt, somebody that you've disappointed, either deliberately or inadvertently, or someone that has hurt you deliberately or inadvertently. Think about them. Somebody that you really, when you think about them, the room turns red. Look at them in your mind's eye and say, I forgive you.
And I don't want to get too deep here. I know people are, there's a lot of people who have their own ideas. And I'll see some people who have throw all religious context out of the window. You feel me? I feel like all things in this reality are connected on a level, therefore I can find a connection, a metaphor between all things, and find value in it, because all things in this reality serve me. Now, with that being said, what he's saying right now is literally the reversion of the cross. You feel me? Because in the satanic model, the devaluing model, I'm sure you see it in fashion and all types of things, they put the inverted cross. Because you can, if you're religious, you might be, oh, this Jesus and all that. I just see it as what it is: inverting, making wrong. You feel me? And when you revert and turn back to so-called quote unquote Christ energy, you are making right. It's not any deeper than that.
I forgive you unconditionally. Boy, that's a heavy load to let off. When I thought about that guy, I said, wait a minute, I can't, no, you don't know what this guy did. This was my mama. You don't know what we went through. My student said, Les, forgive, let it go. If you want to be forgiven, you better forgive somebody. None of us are perfect. All of us have made some mistakes. And it wasn't easy. It's not easy forgiving. Am I right? It's hard. See, everybody won't forgive. They say, I forgive, but I don't forget now. Let it go so you can grow. Let's get a little demonstration here.
Yeah, you feel me? This is about nuance. And why is it the most replayed too? Hold on, look right here. 37. Let's go right here.
Let's get a little demonstration here. Throw it up on this side here, right? Demonstrate it like this. Let's go. I throw away negative thoughts. Everybody won't forgive. They say, I forgive, but I don't forget now.
They cut the homie right here for a reason. You could tell homie right here is holding on to some shit. And I wanted to stop it right here. So you can see, even though you think people can't see it on you, You think nobody can see the shit that you're holding on to? You think it's not manifesting physically? You feel me? It's not manifesting physically through this meat suit that you're riding through this reality in. Nigga, we can see you holding on to shit. This is a reminder to myself. Dude, I'm talking to myself right now. You think niggas can't see? There's probably somebody looking at you right now like, yo, this nigga's about to explode. Pause. You feel me? This nigga, Les told him to think of somebody he don't like. This nigga got hot. He's sitting there hot as shit right now. Hot as shit. And I hope he made it. Hope he forgave them. You feel me? Is he? I can forgive you. I can forgive you, still call you a bitch. You feel me? I totally forgive you. It's just fun for me to call you a bitch. Let's go.
Let it go so you can grow. Let's get a little demonstration here. Throw it up on this side here, right? Demonstrate it like this. Let's go. I throw away negative thoughts. Revenge. Guilt. Anything that's been holding me back. Now with that right hand, let's bring something in. I bring in love. Peace of mind. Good relationships. Whole lot of money.
Yo, we're gonna run this back because it seems simple, but I think he's on his deep esoteric shit right now. He told you to throw away all the bullshit with your left hand. He told you to get off the left hand path. You feel me? He told you to use the right hand to bring in the positive. Let's go. Let's talk, man.
Anything. Let's get a little demonstration here. Throw it up on this side here, right? Demonstrate it like this. Let's go. I throw away negative thoughts. Revenge. Guilt. Anything that's been holding me back. Now with that right hand, let's bring something in. I bring in love. Peace of mind. Good relationships. Whole lot of money. I don't know why people raise their voices when we say a whole lot of money. I mean, they get serious too, you know what I mean? And usually people don't use one hand, they use two hands. And try to borrow somebody else's hand, you know? Reinterpreting our past. Understanding and knowing that we can move from where we are. That we can begin to design the kind of life that empowers us, that gives us happiness, that enable us to be on top of who we are. Knowing that as we begin to explore new horizons and new vistas in life, that as we begin to focus on developing ourselves, as we begin to elevate ourselves and not to follow the crowd, activating the thinker in us and disciplining and putting on hold the emotional part of ourselves. It's not easy, but through practice and practice and practice, practice makes what? Absolutely not. Dismantle that belief system. Practice makes improvement. You can always better your best. You can always go beyond anything that you have ever done. You'll never hit a state of perfection. You're always bigger than what you do.
Talk.
And so all you're looking for are new breakthroughs through practice and practice and practice. You'll get better and better and better. And there's still some things that will happen to you that will catch you on the blind side that you did not anticipate. You'll get knocked down, but you won't be knocked out. You'll be able to get to your feet again, be on the ropes, but you'll have a fast recovery rate when you work on yourself. Read inspirational books, of course. Listen to
Best Loser Wins. Shout out to Tom Hogarth. You feel me?
tapes that begin to inspire you, and stay around people who will empower you. People that will help you feel good about who you are as you're in the process of transforming your life. Life is so beautiful. Today, someone gave me something on life called What is Life? I like to share it with you.
Yo, if homie starts singing right now, I'm gonna lose my mind.
In summary, getting unstuck means that you are going to start living life on your terms rather than just gliding through every day on automatic. That you are aware, that you're stimulated and you're excited about your unfolding future, that you have a special power within, that you know that things are going to get better for you. You know that you can handle this, and sometimes you have to cry. Sometimes life will take you to your knees. But the pain opens spaces in the heart for joy. Somebody said about life, I love this, says, life is like an onion. You have to peel it one layer at a time. And sometimes you cry. This author said about life, life is a challenge. Meet it. Life is a gift. Accept it. Life is an adventure. Dare it. Life is a sorrow. Overcome it. Life is a tragedy. Face it. Life is a duty. Perform it. Life is a game. Play it. Life is a mystery. Unfold it. Life is a song. Sing it. Life is an opportunity. Take it. Life is a journey. Complete it. Life is a promise. Fulfill it. Life is a beauty. Praise it. Life is a struggle. Fight it. Life is a goal. Achieve it. Life is a puzzle. Solve it. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. Remember something I heard in high school. It's called, I met a man today. At first I said he's Irish, for he has an Irish way. A sympathy and friendliness that warms you through and through. And then I thought, oh no, he's not. He really is a Jew. His eyes.
Talk to these niggas. Yo, my bad. I know this nigga was gonna rap. My bad. I'm involved in the battle rap sector also. You feel me? This is how we show our appreciation. And we black. What's it called? Call and return. That's what black people do in church. Let's go.
A sympathy and friendliness that warms you through and through. And then I thought, oh no, he's not. He really is a Jew. His eyes so dark and eloquent, like eyes of pearl, like those of Peter maybe, or perhaps Emmanuel. He stood there with a quiet grace, so slim he was and tall. I knew he was an Englishman and not a Jew at all. And yet his skin was very fair, a Viking he could be, such as those who cast their ships against the sea. His hair was dark with the mist of India, Japan. His courtesy was China's own, his dignity Iran. I met a man today and he was marvelously fair. He really was a child of God, and he came from everywhere.
Bars.
This is Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy saying it's been a plum-pleasing pleasure as well.
Bars. That was a crazy haymaker he ended. Man, shout out to Les Brown. Yo, I don't know if I've seen you around here before. MA. You feel me? You need to get unstuck. You came to the right place. Mess with Les Brown. That's kindergarten level. You feel me? But actually, that's like that's doctorate level. Also, that's the nature of this reality. You feel me? Understand the nature of chaos, probabilities. Looking at I see Tom Hoggart. Best loser wins. If you can take that philosophy throughout your whole life, I feel like that's the top of the top. Now, if you're a little more scientific minded, you like a direct path to things, mess with Bob Proctor, mess with John Canary, his understudy. I feel me? I just want to absorb, I just want to absorb this Les Brown talk for a while. Because, I freestyle this right now. This shit just went crazy. If you didn't receive anything from this, man, you need to run it back. Because even when he was speaking, I was like, damn, So we're stuck in this religiosity and all these things that go on. Like, and I'm not against religion, whatever the hell you want to do. I'm just saying, if there were centers where people came together like on Sundays to reset, literally, and and once a week you go there, chill, you have some good drinks with good people, friends, and shit. You all know you're on a positive path, and then somebody chops up a message like this or something similar once a week. If that was a system of what do you call a gathering when you're in a church? Is there a fancier word for gathering? What's that fancier word for gathering? But if that was the why and the reason people gathered on a weekly basis, think about the futuristic fucking society we live in. Think about the infinite potential of every human being, and if every human being was on a mission to tap into their infinite potential from the 0 point. Shout out to people here who were here on my last show. Feel me? Talking about how biophotons are created by the excitement of electrons, and that is done by what? How do you excite an electron? Emotion, huh? So that's bridging the gap between science and occult information or metaphysical or whatever the fuck you want to call it. You feel me? So how do you connect this deeper quote unquote fringe science quantum information? Bam, fire, congregate. You were right. How do you connect this fringe science, quantum, so-called whatever? Quantum just means they don't know what they're talking about, but quantum information and all this bullshit together. You feel me? You take that information, understanding that the excitement of the excitement of electrons produces biophotons, and everything that we are interfacing with in this reality is being transferred through light information. You wouldn't even be able to perceive shit without light. Light is bouncing off things or perceiving it through your eyes. So therefore, this light that's bouncing off shit, what is this shit is bouncing off of? This shit that is not even solid on an atomic level. Is it all light? Is light bouncing on light? Oh, maybe. Oh, I can produce light in my mind, literal physical light, biophotons, and it's the most coherent light that you can produce, more coherent and together than a laser. It is they qualify it as a they qualify it as a quote unquote or classify it as a quote unquote weak light. But then they have to admit that it is the most coherent light, more coherent than any laser that exists. So coherent light, laser. So when you see light in general, it just illuminates. When you see a laser, it focuses on a point and it changes that point. You feel me? And you can see it traveling in that light. So if the light that you're producing is more coherent and structured than laser light, when you produce a biophoton through visualization, through the excitement of electrons, maybe that is your meat suit's way of interfacing with this reality and how you can make it tactile and malleable and bend to your will. You feel me? This ain't magic. This ain't Crawley. This ain't Thelemic. This ain't the Golden Dawn. Fuck them niggas. This is your birthright. Don't let these goofies make you think that you're in some goofy shit now because you're thinking outside of the box. No. Feel me? Shout out to anybody who's white here. You know, we just talk our shit, but I gotta say it like this. The white man, the cracker, did not invent reality, and his interpretation of how I do things and how I use it does not make me good or evil. You feel me? Believing in yourself and understanding your mechanism to interface with this reality is not magic, nigga. It's your birthright. All right? But I feel like I'm going off a bit. Let me chill. Let's have some fun. Let's move on to I don't preview any of this, so it could be trash. But let's move on to a synopsis of the Last Dragon. And I feel like this is one of the best movies ever made. Period. One of the best soundtracks ever created ever, and one of the deepest, most esoteric movies ever created about finding yourself, going on a journey to find yourself. You feel me? Give me a second. I'll get it together. This might be trash. Hopefully it's good. Let me get it together. Boom. Boom. Ta-da.
Martial arts student Leroy has run out of levels to master. His teacher, Ty, has taught him everything he knows and is cutting Leroy loose. But Leroy still seeks the final level, the elusive level where the body will achieve a glow. Ty tells him that the quest for the glow he must make alone. When Leroy can't take no for an answer, Ty tells him of a great master named Sundam Goy. Ty presents Leroy with a medallion to present to the master when they meet. Before beginning his journey, Leroy takes in a Bruce Lee movie. The movie is interrupted by the karate master of Harlem, Sho'nuff. Who's the baddest? Sho'nuff. Now, word on the street is not unanimous that Sho'nuff is the baddest.
Yo, did AI do this and like make a black person's voice or something like that? Like, I don't like this little painted over bullshit. I need a real break. Maybe do I need to do the? All right, I might not. I might need to add a note to that. I might need to do the SO. Maybe let me bring it back to this. Let me bring it back to this. Let me bring it back to this. I'm really the one. All experiences serve me. Maybe I'm the one that has to do the proper Last Dragon breakdown, the full esoteric breakdown to connect this movie to your mind. And niggas fell off. Let me just say that straight up. I don't know exactly when they fell off. I would guess it was the mid '80s, but it's over for black people. We're done, dog. Do you understand the level of high art and like magic that we were doing back in the days when it comes to programming, conveying ideas covertly without getting into I don't know if you realize. I don't know how much knowledge these guys had, but or maybe it's just the natural talent of the original man or whatever you want to say. Because the shit that they did with Last Dragon, the shit that they did with what Eddie Murphy was doing with his movies, from Coming to America to Boomerang and shit, that is CIA level mind control tactics made for your betterment. Then they goes using CIA level subconscious programming to make you better. You feel me? And that shit don't even happen anymore. I always bring up Eddie Murphy in that early era when he was like in his early 20s, because how does a nigga go from making some of the deepest, most esoteric, entertaining, funny movies of all time to making the Nutty Professor and trash? You feel me? What he had Norbit and shit like that, just making straight ass for the rest of his fucking life. You think somebody who was that high level when they're fucking 21 years old or 22 years old, you think they just become a stupid motherfucker who makes trash movies later in life? And even those trash movies are pretty fucking good. Pluto Nash, that shit was funny. Even some of the trash movies were good. That's how talented the nigga is. But you're telling me somebody goes from being in their early 20s, doing high level concepts like the Golden Child, and in his own movies, from Harlem Nights to Boomerang to Coming to America, by switching the roles in a social dynamic, but not putting anybody down. You feel me? Look back at those movies. The social dynamic was switched, but he still wasn't shitting on the person in the switch social dynamic. If you get what I'm saying, let me know in the chat if you understand what I'm saying, bro. Because I feel like I be losing niggas sometimes. You feel me? Hit the like button. Give me 1 second. I want to find a better. Let me get this out of here because I'm not being entertained by this. Like, this might be a black person AI voice. I don't like it. Because I don't see how somebody hasn't done this already. Hasn't done like a quick synopsis breaking down the esoteric messaging in The Last Dragon. You feel me? Hold on, I'm scanning real quick to see if I can find something. You know how the show goes. The ether or whatever will just give me what I need during the time I need it to convey a message. You feel me? Good, bad flicks. Exploring The Last Dragon. Good, bad. It's just a good movie. You feel me? It's some shit's not for some people. You feel me? Like Purple Rain. Purple Rain is one of the hardest movies ever made. The best musical ever made on Earth. One of the best movies ever made. And the esoteric value that was put across on there was so deep that I can't even really break that shit down. You feel me? I might have to try it one day, but I feel like I do that shit a disservice. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna have to do this. I don't think there's a proper Last Dragon synopsis, so I might have to do this myself. So let me wrap this up like this. In The Last Dragon, I can't even wrap it up. Yo, I don't want to do it a disservice by saying some little bullshit synopsis because they were really going through deep shit in that movie when it comes to the red and the blue key of the energy. If you practice martial arts or you went through traditional schools, you might know a bit what I'm talking about. You know, I studied some Shintaido, which is a more of an esoteric system than it is a combat system. But it is a combat system, but it is frowned upon in Japan. If you look into the Shintaido monks and Shintaido mountains and shit like that, it's frowned upon because the Shintaido system was so open that it combined Chinese and Japanese styles. You feel me? And if you know anything, Chinese and Japanese people don't like each other, but the monks didn't give a shit about that. You feel me? So if you understand like the red and blue key and how you can be separated, there's certain exercises you can do. Like when I was doing martial arts very young, shout out to Sifu Sam and shit like that. Certain things you can do, like when there's a slight breeze during the day, you can just go stand out and chill and meditate and stand, and you can feel which way the wind tends to spin around you. And then you can see how your energy flows. And then from understanding how your energy is flowing, you can then manipulate that and cultivate chi or ki, whatever you want to call it. You understand what I'm saying? And then you get to understand. This gets crazy if you haven't practiced it, but because when I was listening to my Sifu, I didn't believe this shit. Only reason I listened to him because I respected him. So I'd be like, yeah. So when I was first learning a lot of shit from him, I'm like, all right. And then at some point, I don't know if it's through the training, or just through the talks or whatever, you can see this shit. This shit's almost like Dragon Ball Z or some shit like that. Like you can sense when there's somebody around with a high power level and shit like that. What is a high power level? Does that mean you're super tough? No, this could be a spiritual level. This could be their ki is fucking blasting, their aura is fucking up. It's very odd. And also my teacher, this is way back in the days when niggas had like Nokia brick phones and shit like that. He couldn't keep electronics, dog. That shit would just being around him, the shits would fry up. And if I didn't see it myself, I wouldn't believe it. You feel me? Oh yeah, but let me get back to the point. In the Last Dragon, when you're seeing, let's take it down to the last fight. When you see Sho'nuff, he is the epitome of red ki. And you have that within you. You got to understand every character in the in the Last Dragon is just you. Everyone in that movie is just you. You are the original master. You are Bruce Lee, Bruce Leroy. And if you realize when Bruce Leroy gets his powers up early, his ki that is being sparked off of him, this is all intentional. It's blue. You feel me? And he is blue fighting the red ki. You feel me? And when he becomes the master and catches a bullet and catches the nigga's hand and says, "I'm the master" and shit, he rises to the white light level. The white light or the yellow, the glow, whatever you want to call it. In all actuality, you want to make your ki energy a royal purple. A royal purple. That's when you are mixing the red and the blue together. And you need to have a visualization exercise, especially if you were like me when I was younger and your red ki was going crazy. You're looking for a more royal purplish color to end up from your ki, mixing these two things together. But in your mind, the red ki should be chained up and there to when it needs to be used because it's a tool to be used. And here's a very basic example for people who don't understand what I'm saying. Here's the difference between red ki, blue ki, and the glow. This is for anybody. You can, especially a man or whatever, you can take how do I say it? Let me get this shit right. Okay, let me just keep it in martial arts context. You can hit a bamboo board, a wood board. You can hit a piece of wood. You can the Jeet Kune Do dummy. You can strike it very hard. Dang! Concentrate it. Bang, bang, bang. You're hitting that shit hard as shit, and it doesn't hurt. There's no injury. Nothing's happening. You feel me? But if you say you're just doing some random shit and you have a moment of anger and you hit your steering wheel or you punch your desk or you do something stupid like that, the impact that you did with that motion was a fraction, even if 10% of the shit that you know you can do and impact you can take, but you feel pain and you might even get injured. That is the difference in the energy. You feel me? So let's go over this again. So you can be in class or whatever, punch a brick, break it. Nothing, no injury. And I've done this. I've trained hitting a heavy bag barefisted to the point where your knuckles bleed, the skin goes away, and then it comes back. And you think you get crazy calluses and your hands will look crazy. No, it looks like perfect, beautiful skin, but you can punch shit and it won't break. You feel me? But if you're using the wrong energy, that's the craziest part. If you're doing the wrong thing, the wrong energy, not thinking properly, connecting, being intentional. You feel me? Red key is chaos. You got to be intentional with this shit. And that's how you can, that's why I like bringing everything back to the gym, back to martial arts. You feel me? Because the gym is about suffering, you get a result. You feel me? Martial arts is about a path, an idea that can be observed, and you can use these things to get a result. I'm result oriented. You feel me? Hit the like button. I'm very surprised people are here chilling, even listening to these concepts and shit like that. It seems like maybe I'll do more shit like that. Maybe people are actually interested in it and shit like this and things that I feel like I just sound crazy sometimes because if you haven't experienced it, you might think it's nonsensical. You feel me? Like there's shit that I wish every young man could experience. Like because it shows you there's so much more to life. Like I remember training with my homie because he was a friend of mine. We were near the same age, except he earlier in life had connected with this Japanese teacher this is like some movie shit, who had moved to our area, North Miami. So, and this guy had a school and they shut down his school. So he had a small group of students that he still, like, that's how he paid his bills. He still let them train at his house. So after that guy, he trained with the homie all these years. And then I began training with him. And this is my homie. And I remember training with him and I could go all out. I'm trying to fight. I'm trying to fuck this nigga up. And I couldn't do nothing. And that's why martial arts is good for young men. It humbles you. It lets you know maybe you should turn down in public sometimes because there are niggas out there you can't do nothing with. There are people walking around you in reality sometimes that you're only living because they're allowing you to live. They're magnanimous. You feel me? Let me get back to the point. I remember training with this guy, boom, trying to go at him. And I'm going straight at him, missing by like fractions of an inch. Feel like, and I'm going all out. And he's not worried at all. His face is calm. And while I'm going, he's telling me to calm down. He's like speaking to me while we're going full speed with each other, saying, use less red key, turn that shit down, focus more, boom, 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 same time blocking and shit. I'm like, that shit's crazy. And I say that to say this. I remember one time after a long time of training, we're going at it, bam, bam, bam. I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to get him, right? And I'm talking, we're fighting all levels. If you ever seen like a Jet Li movie where like you're stepping in between the leg, you're horse dancing, you're shifting the knee to shift out his knee, you're striking high at the same time, you're blocked. All this shit's happening in concert with each other so quickly. It got to a point where I couldn't see shit. It was just white. It was just white light all around. It's like it's a Matrix shit, the Neo shit. My hands were just doing this shit. Doom, 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 doom. Blocking, catching, boom, striking, blocking, catching. Then I'm shoot. This is just, I wish every young man could experience it because it opens your mind to shit. I remember, bang, almost cracking him, and him stepping back like millimeters from the punch, like whoop, right there. So I just touched the end of his nose, and then he just stepped back once. He just like smiled at me, nodded his head, and I was like, and I was just in awe. It was almost like a psychedelic experience. You feel me? He just smiled at me, nodded his head, and walked away. And I was just standing there like I just came out of a DMT trip or something. I was like, whoa, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? I wasn't even here. I'm moving and covering distances that you don't think you can cover. Everything is so intentional. You're from the top of your head down to your knees, to your feet, the soles of your feet. Your stance is so intentional that a motherfucker can hit you with a cannonball. You might kill you, but you're not gonna fall. You'll slide like a mother. This shit is just so ill. I can't even convey this shit. And you see it, and you understand. I can just talk about it. I get fucking excited talking about this shit. You feel me? But it is what it is. I say that to say this: energy is real. Red and blue key is real. You are the master. If you've seen The Last Dragon, you are composed of all these characters. You have a show enough in you. Pause. You are Leroy. You are the master. You are his brother. You are his father. The whole movie, you are one person. You feel me? But since I can't find a proper one, we're gonna find one and I'm gonna break it down. You feel me? But this has been a good Sunday service. Shout out to Les Brown. I will add him to the title. I should have did that in the first place. Getting Unstuck Sunday service. You are the master. Before we get out of here, if you can do me one favor, do me one favor, which includes hitting the like button. But before we get out of here, I would like you to turn to your neighbor and say, I'm really the one. All experiences serve me. All right? This is Disagreeable. I'm disagreeable. We are disagreeable. This has been a cool Sunday service. I'll be on the Technical Players Club later for the what are we doing? The market review, for the weekend review for trading and all that shit. So that will be in my community post and all that. And we are out.